a night that was historic, and we're going to save off our usual school talk for segment two. Starting segment one with the ultimate crowning of a king last night, a record that would never have been thought to be broken, even maybe 10 years ago, has now officially been topped. It's LeBron James becoming the highest all-time leading scorer in NBA history, surpassing Kareem-Abdul Jabbar, who was at the Lakers game last night against the Oklahoma City Thunder, possibly against his own will. And he was there to present and honor LeBron for surpassing the record, a game in which he needed to get to 36 points, and he did that in less than three quarters. So, Mitch, I mean, it's such an unbelievable night. It's has that sort of thing at the end where it's like, yeah, the Lakers ended up losing the game to the Thunder, but a lot of people were very, very congratulatory to LeBron last night, and rightfully so.
Mitch, there's the old saying of records are meant to be broken. And for 39, 40 years, this record was thought to be untouchable. I watched the game last night live, as did you, as did most people, Mitch, that I know. I know a lot of people stayed up to watch at 10 p.m. tip. It's tough for us out here on the East Coast. I watched it with my dad who is, older and never thought he would see Kareem-Abdul-Jabbar's record be broken of the all-time scoring leader in NBA history, let alone by the kid from Akron that literally grew up in Akron, Ohio, same area code, and then Mitch ultimately had the most pressure any single player has ever had coming into the NBA. And LeBron James, who was never known as a scorer, Mitch, is now the all-time leading scorer in NBA history in 150 less games than Kareem-Abdul-Jabbar. It is incredible. It is now, Mitch, to be honest with you, I personally don't think you or I will ever see this record to be broken in our lifetime. I personally don't know if this is ever going to be broken because it's not like LeBron's done.
No,
we are in a week or two away from the All-Star break. Mitch, he has shown no signs of slowing down. He showed you last night when he wants to score, he can go score 36 points in three quarters. And he sat 4 minutes in the first quarter. He sat a little bit in the second quarter. It's remarkable. And just to put it into context for everybody out there before we dive deeper into this, if LeBron James were to retire immediately right now while we are doing this show, Mitch, for somebody to break the record, somebody would have to average 25 points per game for 82 games in a season for 20 straight seasons. And that's if LeBron just stopped right now. Mitch, I firmly believe by the time LeBron James is retired, this is probably going to be anywhere from 41 to 44,000 points career scored by LeBron James. And just to put the stat I just brought into context, the likelihood of somebody playing 20 straight years, 82 straight games is not realistic. There's talk about lowering the amount of games in an NBA season. So if it is broken in less games in a season, that's even more remarkable. It's going to take a transcendent talent, somebody who takes care of their body the way LeBron does, who is durable. It was awesome to be able to watch history live last night and also watch a guy who gave you and I our first championship in our life do it. There aren't enough words. There isn't enough congratulatory things going on. And it was just remarkable. And I want your take before we dive into this a little more, because it has now, in a lot of people's eyes, Mitch, ended the debate. And then for other people, now it's opened the debate again with, is he greatest of all time, and nitpicking. And I can't wait to get into that here in this segment.
No, I'm happy you had that disclaimer near the end where it's like it's open the debate for some people. When you said it's closed the debate for people, I was like, wait a minute, but yeah. And I was looking at the numbers here for LeBron, and by the way, I think if you look up LeBron on Google today, there's like a little thing on the screen where you did that. Okay, I figured you did that. 19 seasons now that LeBron has averaged 25 or more points per game, and right now he's at the pace where he's back-to-back seasons right now of averaging over 30. And that's the most crazy thing to me, is that when you saw the guys, the legends of the NBA, as legendary as they were, like the likes of Kareem, Michael Jordan, guys like Dirk, Kobe Bryant, Karl Malone, they got to their point totals. They did. Took them a long time to get there, and by the end, they kind of looked like they were just on their way out already. There's no slowing LeBron right now. It's obviously with age there's going to come adjustments to your game, and there is of course the discussion of, well, the changes in the NBA might have allowed for LeBron to be able to last longer because the game isn't as stoutly physical or aggressive as it once was. But there are other there are other factors that have kind of increased with the necessity to adapt, and LeBron has certainly done the necessary things to do so. He's kept his body in check for a number of years. He has some of the best recovery and training processes that you can imagine for any professional athlete, let alone a basketball player. It's unbelievable that he reaches this benchmark and he still has room to keep it going, to make it to the point where, like you said, this is likely going to be our Pete Rose all-time hits, Barry Bonds home runs. I could say maybe, let's say, for football, maybe the rushing touchdown record will likely never be broken because
Iron Man.
Cal Ripken, the consecutive games play. That's true. Yeah, it's another one. But I was going to say most goals, but Alex Ovechkin might be getting in the NHL soon. It really is an unbelievable night to kind of witness that and to see LeBron just have this whole culmination come together, to see what's been poured into not just the last 20 years in the NBA, but his years at Akron St. Vincent St. Mary, his years of playing for the Shooting Stars, his years of coming up in Akron. We've all seen that picture that's been making the rounds lately of him with the basketball hoop during one Christmas, which led to so many amazing globe altering moments. So you go back to everything from his times as in high school, where you said he had massive expectations put on him as a sophomore in high school. As a sophomore in high school, I couldn't imagine having the rest of the world breathing down my neck, watching my every move, especially on a basketball court. But he did it. And then you go to the NBA and you not only have to meet those expectations, you probably have to exceed them. He did that, and then he exceeded that exceeding of the expectation. And he's had his multiple ups and downs in terms of likability and popularity over the years, but it really is just fascinating to see a guy that started out when I was 6 and now being at the point of my life that I am now, to see where he is and what he's all accomplished. It's really it's a humbling experience as a viewer. I can only imagine what it is for him as a player, like he said last night when he was making sure to give Kareem his due as well.
And I think the big thing you said there is a basketball player, because I think, Mitch, there ultimately is a lot of things that people don't like LeBron for, but we're sticking to basketball here. And that's
Sure.
what matters here most, because we're talking about LeBron James, the basketball player. We're talking about now the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, Mitch. So he's number 1 in that rank. He's 4th all-time in assists, Mitch. And now whether he can get there. So basically, I don't see LeBron getting to number 1 overall. That's John Stockton, who he trails by over 5,400 assists.
Yeah.
Now, LeBron would have to average 14 and a half, 15 assists a game for the next 4 seasons. If there was a guy that could possibly do that, would it shock you? No. But at the same time, when it comes to assists, Mitch, you have to have plenty of scores around you. And this Lakers team is just not built that way. But number 1 all time in points, number 4 all time in assists. And Mitch, it's realistically possible he finishes 2nd all time in assists. He is currently 4th behind Chris Paul at 3rd and Jason Kidd at 4th. Jason Kidd had 12,091. LeBron before last night had 10,354. So there's a chance LeBron gets 2nd all time. Defensive rebounds, he's top 10. He's 10th right now. 3-point field goals made for a guy who's not a shooter, was never labeled a scorer, let alone 3-point shooting. Besides his free throw shooting, was probably his biggest weakness, is 9th all time and 9th all time in NBA history in career steals. It is remarkable that this man not only owns the all-time scoring record, but he also shows you what type of player he was. And there was the interview from him rookie year, Mitch. I think you saw it, 2003, where they mentioned, what do you want? He goes, I just want to win. And I always want to make the right play. And he was crucified, Mitch, early on in his career for always passing for an open shot and not taking that game-winning shot. LeBron's not clutch. How many times have we heard that before? Well, LeBron also has the most career buzzer beater game winners in NBA playoff history with 5. He has the 2nd most clutch shots in the 4th quarter and overtime in NBA history behind Kobe Bryant, in which he is just 7 behind Bryant, who had 88. Now LeBron has 81. We were talking about the all-time leading scorer in playoff history, and folks, that does not count for the all-time scoring record he set last night. If it did, this record would have been shattered a long time ago, and you'd probably see other people inside the top 10, whatever it may be, with playoff points per game contributing to all-time points per game. But that doesn't count when we're talking about LeBron's 38,890 points. Mitch, to me, I have been a firm believer that he is the greatest basketball player of all time. I understand that there are people out there that want to say Jordan's the greatest basketball player of all time simply because of the scoring titles. And 6-0 in the finals. He's 6 rings. LeBron has 4. He's lost 6 times in the finals. I will listen to that. But Mitch, in terms of the best overall talented basketball player we've ever seen, it's LeBron James. And today there's been people trying to split hairs again. Well, LeBron has to get 6. And that leads me to this, Mitch.
Yeah.
If Jordan is the GOAT with 6 rings over LeBron, then Jordan's not the GOAT. If we're talking rings, Jordan's not even
No.
6. No, not even top 7. Oh, not top 8. Not top 9. Oh, he would be tied with Scottie Pippen, Bob Cousy, and Kareem-Abdul Jabbar with 6 rings for 11th all time for most championship rings.
Yes.
So all I'm saying here is the whole ring argument to me is null and void. That is a team accomplishment. It is not a, to me, Mitch, one of LeBron's greatest achievements is dragging the 2007 Cavaliers to the NBA Finals. That is by far the worst team in NBA history to ever make the NBA Finals. Larry Hughes was your second leading scorer.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about Pollard, who is now on Survivor, that was on that team.
Yep.
It's Bill Russell has 11, Sam Jones 10, Havlicek 8.
That's mostly those Celtic teams of the 60s and early 70s that really took advantage of a smaller, less talented NBA.
Right. And then Robert Horry, 7 with 3 different teams. I believe just him and LeBron are one of the only players in NBA history to win with 3 different teams in the NBA Finals.
So what, Kareem had what, 5?
Kareem had 6.
6, okay.
1 with the Bucks, 5 with the Lakers. Yes. You have other guys, a lot of Celtics on here. Obviously, we know the Celtics and Lakers are the class of their own when it comes to NBA history in terms of championships won. They're far and away above everybody else. But in terms of everybody trying to argue this now, Mitch, I don't think it was the appropriate time last night for people that we saw, whether it was on news outlets or social media. You have to appreciate greatness. And I've come to learn that now since LeBron left in 2018, and what he's doing will never be seen again. And this record, Mitch, I would wholeheartedly bet everything I have that this will not be broken again in our lifetime. And it's just so cool to see. It really is. Somebody that literally impacted us personally in terms of a fan when he won a championship with the Cavaliers, and to be doing it as long as he has. To me, the debate was rested last night because this guy, Mitch, was never labeled as a scorer. And now he owns the all-time scoring record in NBA history. And it's incredible. I hope he has a couple more championship runs in him if our Cleveland Cavaliers cannot win the finals. I want to put that out there. I'm a Cavs fan first. I hope if we play LeBron in the finals, I hope we bust his ass and I hope we make him lose more finals games. But if he gets to 6 somehow, which is going to be hard with the situation in LA, it's only going to add to the greatest athletic career possibly all time in sports history. And he's right up there with Tom Brady. And I want to make sure we talk about Tom Brady later in the show after an argument that came up this week.
Okay.
But staying on basketball right here, LeBron James, in my opinion, is the greatest of all time. Best of all time means the same thing. So if you want to say MJ's the GOAT, that's fine. The king is the best of all time. Best player to ever touch a basketball in NBA history.
2 things. Number one, I agree. This will likely never be, we'll never see a career like this ever again in the NBA. Even with guys like Giannis in the league, even the guys who are so good, it's going to be very difficult to rack up that many accomplishments in one singular player. Second thing is, I think Jordan has the better storybook career. A guy who worked hard for 7 seasons, got the 3 titles, retired due to circumstances, came out of retirement, picked up where he left off, ended it, came back for a little epilogue. But LeBron, it's the best career I've ever seen because I didn't see Jordan. I was 1 when he ended up hanging up. Well, the second time he ended up hanging up his jersey, but it's the best one that I will remember for a long time. And there's so many memories that I will keep in the back of my head when I'm thinking about that.
Just appreciate it. That's all I have to say out there to people. Whether you agree or disagree with me, that's fine. You're entitled to your own opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm always for arguing the debate, but Mitch, 38 years old, and he's averaging more points now than he did at his peak, which, to be honest, Mitch, I don't know. He might be in his peak still. This might be the longest peak of any athlete all time. I mean, this is crazy.
I think that he's not in his peak anymore of being able to will a team like he was able to in the past, like will those Cavaliers to a finals, will some of those Heat teams in those postseason runs. Because with this Lakers team, let me tell you something right. This Lakers team, besides LeBron James right now, seems not good. This is not a good basketball
Oh,
team. And it was, well, it wasn't proven by this last night, but I'm about to show you something that really kind of made the rounds on Twitter. And I think you'll likely know what it is. But it was this whole clip that happened last night. There was a clip from the Laker bench as LeBron was breaking the record. You see someone sitting down there
yeah.
while the rest of the Lakers are up. You see them celebrating, and there's one guy sitting there, and that's Anthony Davis sitting there on the Cavalier bench or the Laker bench, excuse me. Um, you know, just kind of there. Just
Mitch, he looked disinterested all night long. He really did. There was times that he was just standing around. I don't know if he just never wanted to get involved strictly because of what was at stake last night. And I mean, everybody that has eyes or ears that could watch a broadcast or listen and saw on social media, it seemed pretty relevant that he was going to break it with how he arrived to the crypto, whatever it's called now, still Staples Center, in my opinion, just because of how long it was Staples Center. But we saw what happens when LeBron arrives in all black during his time here in Cleveland. It's usually bad things for the other team. But that is very intriguing. You know, there was
yeah,
also the moment you saw in the broadcast where he goes, "Man, I love you," and they both said that. But it's like Anthony Davis, Mitch. I don't know, and this is probably a discussion for another time. It's just he's caught in a weird place, and also just I don't want to say overrated because it's hard to say that when you get injured as much as him. But obviously, not one of the most durable players we've ever seen. I mean, we've seen this guy. I think he's only ever played one full season, and even then, he had a couple games where he rested. But it's just it's odd to see because both these guys are signed for a while with the Lakers, Mitch.
yeah. I don't think they're going to trade him. I mean, at the time we're recording, we're only 2 hours away from the NBA trade deadline passing, but that's it's not a great look. There was also a report that Russell Westbrook got into a heated discussion with Darwin Ham in the locker room at halftime yesterday. I just think the team, this isn't a team that's likely going to make it to the playoffs, and if they do, they're going to get bounced in the play-in tournament. It's unfortunate that a night like this has to be bookended by a Laker loss, but give credit to Oklahoma City. I mean, you mentioned it before the beginning of the show. You got guys like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in there, and a number of guys who I think can make the team pretty decent here, and at least decent in a couple years because they've been in NBA purgatory for so long post Russell Westbrook, who's now on the
They
Lakers.
they're the youngest team in the NBA, I do believe. They also, I believe, said in the broadcast last night that if you take all their experience combined, it adds up to a third of LeBron's career in terms of experience or something like that. I mean, the amount of rookies they have. Mitch. This is a Thunder team that's only going to get better. And Gilgeous-Alexander has bursted onto the scene. He is a tremendous talent, but this is also a team. What I'm going to say, and I'm not sure I'm really exaggerating here. I think like 17 picks, or maybe that was a year or two ago, starting with the draft, but 17 first round picks or something like that. I mean, this team is fine cap wise. They're obviously probably going to have to extend Gilgeous-Alexander, but this team is young. And Mitch, it won't be long before the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be back to what they were in terms of relevancy and competing for NBA championships like they were with KD, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook in 2012.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see where Oklahoma City goes. We'll see where the Lakers go. We'll see where LeBron and the team goes up the rest of the season. Now, when we come on back, we'll go back to our regular high school discussions. We'll also go over to some other topics here in just a few minutes.